I'm very excited to announce that Bluetooth module for our Newtons. We think, me and Artur, we think that that will be really a good improvement for people who have a completely blank Newton and they struggle with the connection with the modern Macintosh and macOS, because there is no problem with the old machines with the serial port, etc. There is no problem with this, but a lot of people struggle all the time with the drivers and type of cables, etc. So there is a kind of solution for this. So I'm gonna give a voice to Artur, and Artur will show you everything.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm completely new in this group, so I will introduce a little bit. Could you enable the screen sharing?
Sorry. Here we go.
Okay, next. Okay, let's go. So, as Pavel already said, the short talk about Bluetooth for Newtons. My name is Artur. I'm living in Jelenia Góra in Poland. I'm using Macs from first class of secondary school, so a long time. But in Newtons and images, I'm completely fresh. 5 weeks ago, I received the image from Pavel, and yeah, it was the beginning of this adventure. In daily business, I am IT engineer in automotive company, and yeah, after work, I dealing with old computers. As you can see in background, I have a lot of old stuff in my room. So this is about me mostly. Okay, making long story short, as Pavel already said, a lot of troubles with connecting Newtons and images for modern Macs. Mainly about the one solution for now is this USB to serial adapter, and a lot of question about it. Yeah, FTDI, you can buy real one or fake one. Other chips in those devices are often not supported well. You need to fight with drivers. You need to fight with some extensions, and you know the Mojave and Catalina is not friendly for third-party solutions. So we talked a little bit, and we said, why not that Bluetooth? Yeah, Bluetooth is everywhere. Bluetooth is on all, nearly all new Macs. Yeah, and the connection is that all software is already inside the macOS, and all software on the Newton side is already on the Newton. So we've thought about the hardware solution, and we want to introduce this for you today. The recipe for this is very, very easy. You need the Bluetooth module. It's very common HC06 Bluetooth module, available everywhere, eBay, Chinese stores, and so on and so on. Very cheap, very popular, so not big deal to take one or more. Second part, you need the translate the RS-232 to TTL level, because as you know, maybe or probably the RS-232 use something like plus minus 12 or 15 volts, and we need only 3.3, so we need the converter. Very popular converter is MAX3232. It's yeah, also available everywhere and very cheap, very well documented, and as standard solution for this kind of conversion. Next, you need some kind of power. I decided to use this kind of booster because I can use, in this case, I can use normal AA batteries and power all this stuff with 2 AA batteries. And next one, unfortunately, is converted from 5 volts to 3.3 because, yeah, the Bluetooth module needs 3.3 volts. And from booster converter, I get the 5 volts. So it's a little bit crazy, but we need first up the voltage and then reduce the voltage from 5 to 3.3 volts. And I decided to use the original Apple Newton fax modem, mainly the case of this, because yeah, it's nearly ready for our purposes. Yeah, the cable is present, the battery compartment is present, so a lot of space inside, everything we need. And of course, you need some tools, wires, batteries, and so on and so on. The idea is very easy. I will skip this slide. We will back to this in a moment. The idea is very easy. You need to take your modules, put some batteries. This is the picture of the cable for Newton, and very simple connections. Yeah, from batteries to booster, from booster to 3.3 converter, power supply to module, Bluetooth module, power supply to converter, and the connection of transmission lines. Yeah, send line and receive line from module to converter, and from converter to your Newton or remate. It's really easy to connect, easy to assemble. So not big deal. Some pictures from my build. Normally, when I building something, I don't take the pictures, but Pavel asked me about it, so I have few pictures. This is the Apple Newton fax modem mainboard. So I prepared the universal board with the same shape. Used the battery connections and the LED from the original mainboard. So 3 parts used from the original one. Then some small modification to the booster converter, because I don't need this USB connector. I use the direct connection from this board. Some kind of arrangement of parts inside the case, and yeah. The tricky part is not necessary at all, but I like it. This is original LED on a Bluetooth module. I used two cables to connect the LED visible outside the case. And yeah, this is the proof that it works. Pavel will show you with details how it works, how you should connect the device to Mac, and so on and so on. But I will show you in. I will prove to you that this kind of device is working. Yeah, stop sharing, and yeah, let me switch to the second camera. Okay, so eMate not connected to anything. Okay, and the final device, yeah, we can power it up and connect to our eMate. Okay, this is all. Let me change a view for you to see what's going on. Okay. Okay. NCX. A little bit of explanation. This is the LED from Bluetooth module. Fast blinking means that there is no connection active in this moment. Of course, on my iMac, I have the pairing done already. So I see the Bluetooth serial port on the list in the Newton, in NSX. So new connection, it takes a few seconds because the connection is in this moment established. Come on. Yeah, as always, you should want to. Okay. No, but we not have no connection. Wait a moment.
Artur, I think you need to close the previous window in the NCX to initiate the new connection. I think this is the problem.
Could be. New connection. Or as always, it will not work now. It could be. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, I tried it more than 10 times before we started, and now.
Artur, it always happens like that. It always happens.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Murphy laws, and I know it. Standard.
Yeah. Yeah, we just tried before 15 minutes before the meeting, and it worked perfectly.
You guys remember the same thing happened when they debuted the Newton? Remember? They did the Chicago show. When they debuted the Newton, it wouldn't work, and they grabbed another one. Fortunately, that one worked, but it was the same situation. Newton showed up. Initially.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. We can delete the Bluetooth. Delete the Bluetooth device and pair it again, maybe. Or maybe just connect. Or maybe just delete it. Okay.
Artur, if you want, I can show that part on my device because.
Yeah, of course, but.
Yeah, I know. This is weird.
Yeah, as always. Okay, so let's skip it, and I will show you what's inside this device.
So I'm gonna show you the whole process how to pair and how to connect later on my device because I have a very similar. But Artur will show
let's hope it will work.
Yeah, I hope it will work.
Okay, so inside we have the universal board with the assembled with the spider method, of course, and on the other side we have all components installed, and yeah, the Bluetooth module here, and converter from RS-232 from the cable connected to the Bluetooth, then power supply from batteries and power supply up to 3.3 volts. Connected with the schematic I showed you in the presentation. Of course, I added some power switch to yeah.
Yeah,
Not take out the batteries to switch it off.
yeah.
and it's all, yeah. So it's
And
not a rocket science. It's easy to assemble.
yeah.
You can do it in this way. You can do it in way in the Pavel did it. So
this is prototype, guys. So spider work. It's like that, but it's working.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably we will. Yeah.
Make it smaller.
Make it smaller, make it universal with some yeah sockets for modules, or maybe just the connect everything and solder to the main board, and yeah, let's prepare the product ready to be, for example, shared with others.
Let's try again. Yeah.
Try again.
Yeah. So the module, it looks like module working, but the iMac cannot see the module. Yeah. Am I correct?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
iMac is from the education market, so there is no original Bluetooth module inside, but I have cheap Chinese module connected to USB. So this also could be the reason. Because this is the education devices very often
so Artur,
without.
maybe start, maybe reboot the iMac, and meanwhile I'm gonna show from my side. Okay.
Okay,
what
sure.
do you think? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could unshare.
Unshare. No, I have only camera active in this moment.
All right. Okay.
So you can share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I see the image. Okay. Give me the 1 minute.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. No. Code. Okay, the pairing code, it was wrong. Okay. Okay, success. And now NCX. New connection. No, still nothing. Okay, finally. So as you can see, the LED stops blinks very fast, and it blinks now slower. So this means the Bluetooth connection is established. And okay, I hope it will be visible. Dock, so standard Newton dock connect. And as you can see on iMac, the connection is done. And I see the details of my image in NCX. So everything now works as should be from the beginning. So, okay, because I cannot share the screen from this old iMac because of versions of Zoom, Pavel will continue on his hardware with details of this pairing and connection.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you. I have a little different. I use the same. Case from Apple Newton Modem, but mine is very simple because don't have that LED. But you can see something blinking inside. So the Bluetooth module is active. So I'm gonna show you the Bluetooth module. So I'm just starting the Bluetooth on my iMac. We need to wait to discover. I changed the name, so the module have a name even, new Bluetooth. I'm just connecting. It's connected. Then I'm gonna start NCX. So NCX is ready. The only difference that when you need to set up your NCX to work with that Bluetooth. So like you see, this is my standard USB to serial cable, but when the Bluetooth connect to your Mac, you have separate port like a new Bluetooth DevB, it's like that. Nothing changing here. So basically you need to just pick up the serial from the NCX, and then I'm gonna show you, this is my Newton, so I'm gonna start the dock. So the dock is also standard settings. You don't need to change any speed or something, just standard serial setting, yeah. And now I'm gonna connect. Voila, and I'm back to my computer now. Yeah, so you can see it's connected here. So so the connection is made. Once again, back to Newton is still connected, so you can upload and you can work with this. I'm gonna show you functionality, for example, and so I switch on keyboard mode. Oh, Bobby wants to join us. So it's Newton is in a keyboard mode, so I'm gonna switch to Newton and maybe some notes. Let's go. Oh, too many things, sorry. So I'm gonna tap somewhere here. So I can tape from my keyboard from my computer. I'm taping random things, yeah, but you can see it's working. So everything's fine. You can also see the display. It's working quite fast, not super fast, but still. Okay, so take snapshot. So all functionality should work. The image should show up soon. I hope so. I can say that Bluetooth connection is very stable. I did a few tests and I upload, you know, the kind of packages. So everything worked very well. The Bluetooth connection is not dropped. So yeah, so this is the screen. Yeah, so like you see, the functionality is fine. So I was able to,
See the
upload.
Newton.
Oh, sorry, my fault. So the display was like that. Sorry. So here we have a captured the screen, the current screen from Newton. Like yeah, here and here. Yeah. So it's like that. Yeah. The difference between my device and Artur is that Artur he used the original cable from the modem to directly connect to the standard serial. But for example, it will not work with Newton 2000 because Newton 2000 you need to dongle. I mean, technically you can use dongle and it will be the same, but I have a separate cable like normal RS232 cable, and I have that fancy direct cable with the interconnect plugin for Newton 2000. But it's actually doesn't matter. It's a matter of cosmetic, yeah. And you can use, for example, for normal Newtons, you can use where's that cable? I just put that cable somewhere away. Just a second, guys. Sorry. Never mind. The standard serial
So
cable for
Yeah,
that,
something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So Powell, that's just a standard PC cable then?
Yes, this is standard PC
Okay.
cable. I'm gonna disconnect
Okay.
now, so I'm gonna show you once again. So this is
Okay, there you go.
standard connection. Yeah, the only
Okay.
difference. Yeah. So Artur have a version with the Mac version, but here you can technically it's possible to use it with the even PC, but there is no modern software for Windows.
Right.
Which is able to working with the Newton, you know, like over the serial ports on PC. So that solution
Right.
at this moment is only for modern Mac, actually, to be honest. Yeah, because NCX doing the job. Yeah, but if someone will make a version, I don't know, NCX version or different that kind of software for, let's say Windows 10 or something, that will work perfectly. Yeah, so there will be no problem. Yeah.
Sure, this solution is exactly the replacement of the serial cable. Yeah.
Exactly.
As Wi-Fi is replacement for Ethernet cables, so this solution is the replacement for serial cable. You can use it with any serial enabled device. Yeah, not only Newtons or emails, but yeah, literally every device with serial port, and yeah, resign with the cable.
And,
Yeah.
and Artur, you said there's no drivers required for this, that everything is
Like you
already in
saw,
the
yes, like you saw, we didn't install any drivers.
So
The only thing you need, it's a Bluetooth in your Mac, but like Artur
right.
said before, most of the Macs have a kind of Bluetooth module. You need to connect, and that's all. Even on the Newton site, you don't need any extra drivers, nothing. Just use the standard dock with the standard serial connection, because it's a direct translate. Yeah, the
So
Newton
this,
thing, let's say, that
right.
it's directly connected to the computer. That's all.
So this would seem to do away pretty much the bootstrapping problem we have, where you have drivers on a card.
Yes.
And you can't. Yeah. So you can't.
Yeah.
It's the catch-22. You can't get the drivers. You can't get the Newton to boot up because it needs the drivers, but you need the drivers to boot up. Yeah. The Newton.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly. So this is the solution. You can have completely blank Newton, just reset boot Newton, and you can just connect this to Newton, and voila, you can transfer the first drivers or first software like a patch for the system or Wi-Fi drivers, whatever you need, directly by this module to Newton, and then you can, for example, switch on Wi-Fi connection or something like that if you don't want to use the cable. Yeah.
Howard, did you and Artur work on this together, or is this mostly Artur's idea?
I mean, that was my idea, and I sold that idea to Artur, and Artur did the whole work because he have a skills. He's an engineer,
Right.
so that was kind of my idea if we could use it, and we just started to chat with Artur, and Artur said, there is that kind of Bluetooth module we could try to use, yeah. And from word to word, Artur just make the first prototype, and I did the same with my. The only difference is that different connector. That's all. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant, guys.
You
That's
got
brilliant.
bloody brilliant. Let me ask, is NCX what you have to be operating
Yes.
to inside the Mac to coordinate with the file system? In other words, to access packages and so forth and so on.
Yes. Only NCX you need to connect your Newton by using that device to your modern Mac. Only NCX, nothing more. No drivers, no special, cables, USB to serial cable, nothing. Just connect the module to Newton by standard cable, like most of the Newtons have, even with the package.
Right.
If you want to connect by using the if you want to connect Newtons 2000 or the only thing you need it's a dongle, which most of the people, the 2000s owners, most of them have this dongle. Yeah.
Right.
For future, I have a plan. I'm not sure if Artur will have a time to do this, but it's a way beyond my skills. But I probably you remember. I'm gonna show you maybe that things once again. Probably you remember I show you that internal Wi-Fi module, which was done by Jake. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna show you something interesting. So you can compare the size. So this Bluetooth module is even smaller than this Wi-Fi board here. So I'm gonna try to work out how to put that Bluetooth module on that board here. And in this case, you could have, if you have a Newton 2000 or something, you could put that board inside of the Newton, and in this case, you don't need this box even. The Newton will connect via Bluetooth directly with your computer. So this is another option for this. Yeah.
Well, I just did a search on eBay, and there's a ton of those Newton fax modems available, and they're cheap. They're under $50.
I mean,
that would seem the way to go. I mean, for now, anyway, right?
I mean, this is the only box, because the final this is the only box because the final device with the connector I'm gonna show you again. This is the final device I'm using with my prototype.
With the fax modem, right?
So yeah, so this is it. This is it. Here is the Bluetooth module powering 5 volts from USB. So technically you can use the batteries with the step up Artur presented before, or you can power directly from USB. And here is the serial port. That's all. So the board, you can see the board is that tiny. Yeah. So you can build even smaller if you wanna. We just use that case because the Newton modem case, no one using that fax modems anymore, probably. So we use that as a as a only a very nice case for the device. That's all. Yeah. It's not necessary.
So you didn't use any of the electronics in there. You just stuck
no,
there.
Absolutely no. The only things Artur used, that was the LED and the connectors for the battery to put the correctly, because we have just put the battery.
You need that place to put
so we don't need even external power for this, because everything working on the batteries, and that module taking very little energy. So probably that batteries is for for days, can work for days. So
again, let me say that's genius, you guys. That's amazing. That's just amazing.
I think it's very simple, but very very nice solution. Yeah. And when Artur said to me, "Oh, we can use that Bluetooth and that should work," I was, "Whoa, yes, finally." Yeah. because I always struggle. First of all, I remember when how much time I spent for finding the proper cable, USB to serial cable. I bought like 5 different cables, and I start fighting with the drivers, and I break my macOS because I start installing different drivers and they make a mess with the original drivers, and that was horrible. Yeah, and after a weeks I found finally good working with my Mac cable without the drivers, and that was kind of solution. Yeah, but I think this device is, you know, you need to just plug, install NCX, and voila, it's working. That's all.
Actually, there's a message from Frank that says, I'm very tempted to put this Bluetooth module into a 2x1000 modem. Could someone please provide me with details about which module I need to buy? So Frank's already thinking about that.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I'm gonna put the details because I forced Artur, like he said, to make a few photos from his working device. So I'm gonna put the all details, you know, like technicalities and how to set up the module for working with the Mac, just like that, because there is a need to change a few settings on the module, but it's very simple because the module can be connected by a standard serial port to computer, and you need to have a kind of software terminal.
This is the slide I skipped. So
oh, right. Okay. So maybe
we can
Artur,
back to this.
if you could show that that screen and say to guys who are interested in details, what kind of
yeah, I'll do that.
yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
so Artur will say what we need to change in the module settings from the, you know, completely default settings. So Artur.
Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
I'm gonna capture that.
Yeah, we'll yeah,
I'm gonna publish
send
later.
this presentation for sure. The building of this device is a piece of cake. Yeah, it's really easy. Few connections or buy the ready module as Pavel used. It's not a big deal. One deal we need to fight with this very often is the change. Like it's changing the speed of the module. The module factory defaults is 9600 baud. Yeah, that's standard speed of this serial port. Newton requires 38400. Yeah, so we need to change it, and this is the tricky part, and probably maybe together with Pavel we will prepare a lot of modules with correct configuration, because there is there are everything depends on of firmware installed in this module. One firmware requires, for example, the command UART something. Some modules requires the command about 6, for example. Some modules use PSWD, so password for changing the pin. For pairing, some modules use the pin 00, for example, and it's crazy. We fight a few hours with different.
90% of our work on this was discovered because me and Artur, we bought completely different version of that module. I mean, physically the module is the same, but the firmware was different. So some AT commands didn't work on but they work on Artur, and opposite. Yeah. So we spent 90% of the time working on this. We spent to discover how to find the proper commands to reprogram the module. Yeah, so that was tricky.
Let me ask you guys, what is the top speed of this Bluetooth module? You know.
We didn't test with the higher speed, but probably it's possible to even use that 225,000.
Because you know the Newton has a package that is the 115-200
Yes.
I mean, your
yes.
package is certainly fast enough, but I mean, if you wanted to, that would be an interesting project too, to see if you could go with that.
Yes, but I think there is one problem. To have that higher speed, you need to have that package on Newton. So this is the problem, like egg problem, yeah. So our goal was to prepare device that you need nothing on the Mac and on the Newton side, yeah. Then
you would need to run that package, right? So that would bootstrap you again. So yeah,
exactly. So that was, and I think that speed with that Bluetooth module is the same speed like you can get when you're connecting directly your Newton with the old Mac.
Because this is the standard speed, exactly.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's not faster, it's not slower. It's the same speed when you take your Newton and you connect, for example, to your old PowerBook or old LC, Macintosh LC or something like this, with the standard serial model. So I think it's fine. It's not super fast, but if someone wants to speed up, yes, there is a possibility, because after you upload that special package to speed up the Newton connection, then you can reprogram the Bluetooth module and make it faster. It's not a problem.
Right. Yeah. But initially, to do what you want to do, which is no drivers and no installation, you need to go with that. But afterwards, you could always upgrade it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
correct.
It's
in this moment, it's one-to-one replacement for the cable. Yeah. The same speed, the same functionality. And
well, Artur, let me just say that you may not know much about the Newtons, but you certainly made a good first impression here. I mean, this genius work.
Yeah, Forrest, remember this is
I know, it's also
first
you.
version.
I know.
First version, yeah.
I know.
I did also test with the older Newtons, like I have here 130. And it's working perfectly. So doesn't matter which Newton is. Even original OMP will work with this. Yeah. So there is no problem. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's terrific. And I will, with my limited electronic capabilities, I think I could even build this.
This is good question. This is good question from Noah. Could you program the Bluetooth module using the Newton? I think
it's the problem. Yeah, it's the problem because the only software I found for the Newton, for the eMate, it's PT100, and the PT100 sends the end of line only the Macintosh version, so only LF line fit. And for most of Bluetooth modules, we need to send the line ended with 2 characters, carriage return and line feed. And I couldn't find this was my question on Newton Talks talk group, yeah, because this PT100 cannot do it for me.
So do we have another option on Newton, kind of, terminal software, except that PT100? Do you know, guys, something about this? If there is another, serial terminal for Newton.
Yeah, maybe it's different software is available somewhere, but I could not find it. And the PT100 is not enough.
Yeah.
But again, you need to install the PT100 and then program a Bluetooth module. So
yeah,
not this way. In this case,
you might be able to use a PC card, but again, you're going to need to load drivers for that. So that's another situation too, where that's not going to work.
Yeah, this is the only tricky part in this business. The change the speed of the Bluetooth module. That second and third comment, it's really not necessary. You can use default name, and you can use default pin, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and just change it during the pairing process on the Mac. If you put 4 zeros, the default pairing pin on Mac is 4 zeros, so it will work without anything else. but only the first command for it is really required, because you need to change the speed to 38400, and it's necessary to do it, to make the correct connection between Mac and the Newton. So this is the only one thing, and unfortunately, there are a lot of differences between firmwares, between modules, between manufacturers, and so on. So it's really depend what you buy. Pavel have three different behaves with three different ways. So probably we will try to make something like a, I don't know, directory of modules, and how to program it. Yeah, the know-how for all available on the market. Maybe.
I mean, what I can offer, because I understand a lot of you guys can do this when you get the kind of details from us about how to make everything. You can probably do on your own if you are familiar with the solder station. But if someone wants that kind of module and ready to go, I'm happy to make a few and send to you. Obviously, I will charge you for the parts and for the shipping costs. Yeah, the parts are not very expensive, but they are more expensive than, for example, the USB cable. Yeah, because usually the good USB cable, it's a cost about, I'm gonna say in a pounds, because I'm operating with the pounds, it's about I don't know, 8, 10, 12 pounds for the cable. Here will be a little more, because the module plus the converters, so altogether I think will be something like, I don't know, 15 pounds, 15. Yeah.
If you can, speaking just for myself, if you can just give me the list of the components that I need, I'll get the modem off of eBay, and I have a ton of USB cables here. So I just need the board and the components to put on it, and then that pretty much is it. I'm good to go. I think I'll get everything.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of people would do the same thing. So.
Yeah, we'll share with the technical details, so you can build if you are able, so you can build on your own. But I'm talking about people who have no, let's say, no idea about how to solder things.
No,
but they wish to get something. So I'm happy to prepare a few. If someone needs something something like this, I can even build that kind of stuff. Yeah, if they want to use it. Yeah, sometimes.
Sure.
I just detailed the instructions on that reprogramming and when it's necessary.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Paul,
So I'm gonna prepare that. I'm gonna ask Artur for that presentation maybe also. So I'm gonna prepare the PDF version of this presentation for you. But I'm gonna prepare kind of article on my website soon. I cannot promise will be tomorrow, because last few weeks so busy. I didn't even finish the second day from the conference with the videos, because I was so busy at work.
No,
but I promise I will publish the details. So by this article you will be able to buy proper stuff and build on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, Frank just wrote, "Be aware you have a life of your own, Powell." I think Frank pretty knows.
Yeah. It's fine. Actually, that was the last week of my work. So now I have 2 months of completely, holiday-free stuff. So, so yeah, I will be able to work more with the Newtons and all that stuff. Yeah. Of course, I'm not promised that I will build another 50 of them. Yeah, I can build a few. I can build a few of them, because I don't have enough, modems at home. Yeah, I have maybe another 4 or 5. Yeah, so that's all.
But it's also the idea to create the board, the PCB,
yes,
ready to install in this case. So maybe you just get the boards, the solder, the battery connectors, and install again the new one.
or I'm gonna show another solution.
Or we can use the 3D printers to.
Yes, maybe something like this. Guys, technically, it's possible to just connect that module to the cable, like you see. Do you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can just plug the kind of power bank with USB. That's all. It's working.
Yeah.
It's working. Yeah. So technically, you don't need to even, that case was, fancy stuff only. Yeah. But this is it. This is it. So technically,
Yeah, that's kind of fragile.
Yeah. It's not, it's not perfect, but I think that device is not anyway. It's not used very often because when you install on your Newton all the software, you have it. Yeah. So you do not reset your Newton, every day. Yeah. So
yeah, but it looks to me like it would be an easier way too. That if you wanted to download packages, like if you have a couple old Macs like I do, and you want to get stuff off them and onto the Newton or vice versa, this looks like a much more elegant way to do it. Than to even fuss with the cables. I mean, it's just I would probably, I don't know. I see your point though. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but never mind.
I mean, it's
no,
up to everybody what they want. Yeah, what they want. For example, the Artur's version is really neat and really simple because you have direct, cable from the box. Yeah, so you just need to plug to your Newton and it's working. You don't need additional, cables even. Yeah, like that was in my case. Yeah, for this you need extra cable. But with the Artur solution is just plug and play and it's working. Yeah?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right. So Eckhart asking, PCMCIA cards do show up as a serial cards, but they only speak the low level in HCI Bluetooth protocol. Yeah, I remember I used that because I have a Pico card. It's a Bluetooth card, PCMCIA Bluetooth card for Newton, and I tried years ago, but I didn't try it yet. Probably that would work. Yeah, that was I think that was Eckhart solution, like a.
I have one of those cards too.
Yeah,
I would be really curious who has it working.
I can do modern tests because I test them like I don't know 4 years ago. Yeah, but this is again problem with the drivers, because to run this card you need to have drivers on the Newton. Yeah, so this is the problem. Yeah.
And the question is if this card provides the serial port for you, because the Bluetooth is only one layer, yeah, the connection layer, and on the top of this you have different profiles, yeah, profile for audio, profile for data exchange, and profile for serial port in our case. So the question is if this PC card provides the serial port profile to the Newton, and how this serial port will be visible for the dock software, for example. Yeah, a lot of questions, and you have 2 months free, so you can test it.
Okay, so I see another comment from Eckhart.
I think there is Pico. If you go back and you look at. If you go back and look at the archives, so I don't know if the person that was using them is still on NTLK, but somebody was using the Pico cards before. So I think there probably is, if you go back and search the Newton archives, there probably is information about that. I don't know if that person is, like I said, still with us or not, but I know that was a topic about 6 or 8 years ago. Powell, does that sound right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've used the Pico cards in the past. And it was to be used with Eckhart's program. Is it Blunt? Is it?
Yes.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, and but I mean, I couldn't find a use for Bluetooth at that time, 10 years ago, when it was. Whereas this is a very, very active way of using Bluetooth as a physical cable replacement. Okay.
Yeah, because basically that Bluetooth, that Bluetooth module is just cable replacement to avoid the situation with the USB drivers, etc., etc. Yeah, because the PCMCIA card, Bluetooth card, that Pico, it's a different stuff, because Eckhart, as I remember, he did that you could even try to have a internet connection via Bluetooth. Am I correct?
Yeah, so
So that was next level, yeah.
Yeah, so I put the protocol in place that you can have the higher level pieces of Bluetooth.
Yes.
So it would be using RFCOM, which is what the module that you have does. But you could also do like this object exchange, so that you could, for example, send business cards and these kind of things. And I think in the Bluetooth 5 world, there are quite a lot of other protocols that you could enable that might, for example, not need pairing. But I think then you need something on the other side, on the Newton side. So that's that's the part.
So once again, to clarify the situation, our Bluetooth module is not that kind of full functionally full I don't know how to say it, fully functional like a Bluetooth device. It's a emulation of the cable to get a connection with the NCX, basically. Yeah. So it's a kind of limitation for this module, yeah. But that was the case to replace the cables, to get easiest way to connect Newton with the NCX, to be honest, yeah. Exactly. But if you need something more, that internet connection or something, you need to use additional cards like that Pico card or Wi-Fi, yeah.
There's actually an interesting thing. So the chip in the module that you have has a full Bluetooth implementation. So you can reprogram it, and you can actually, it's a bit stupid because you take away all the other parts of the protocol, but you basically would turn it into something like a Pico card. So it has the full capability of that.
I think Jake working on it. I know he have a limited time for this project, but he mentioned that he wants to try make a kind of software for ESP32 module, because that module even have a Bluetooth inside and Wi-Fi inside. So technically, if Jake, but I believe Jake have skills to do this. Technically, Jake could put that module here on the board and, for example, put inside 2000. And in this case, theoretically, it's possible to have a Bluetooth, fully functional Bluetooth, and fully functional Wi-Fi in the same time. Yeah. So that would be, for me, that would be a kind of final solution for all connection problems, at least for Newton's 2000s, yeah. But I think it's that need again extra software on the Newton side, because he need to create for this Wi-Fi module he create before. There is additional 2 packages you need to install on Newton's driver and kind of control package for this to switch some settings on Newton to work with this card when you put it inside. So once again, you need to first of all install the software on the Newton, and then you can use it. Yeah. So yeah, that was different thing. Yeah. Our thing was, like, once again, to create something easy without additional software. Yeah, to connect Newton and computer, and it's working. I'm so happy.
It's cool. Yeah, that fax modem is actually about $15 on eBay. I just looked it up.
Yeah, but you don't need that. It's only case, yeah. So you don't need that. Yeah,
but if it was me, I would want it in the case just because that way it doesn't get damaged. That doesn't seem like that's a big of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks great with the original case and
yes.
And the cable, yeah.
And the cable, yeah. So I have the original Apple device.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like that. Okay. So if you guys, if you have more questions, feel free to ask if something's not clear. Yeah. Frank, if we put the module in the Newton, would we still need the RS-232 converter? No, No, because I'm gonna show you again my Newton, but I need to dismantle a little that.
The internal serial port probably is on a TTL level, so
Yes.
nothing else is needed.
So
Only
yeah,
that.
so will be even much more simple
The
to
question
create.
is what level, 5 volts or 3.3?
3.3. I think it's 3.3.
All is okay.
Yeah.
Frank, if you want details about the internal connector, because I can show you. So I'm gonna zoom my camera here.
I thought the biggest problem with the internal connector was that we couldn't get those anymore.
Yes, the connector it's a problem. Yeah, so I'm gonna
I
show
think
you
Matthias
here.
has like 100 of those or even more. He sent me a couple or 300. He has huge
Oh, there
amount.
you go.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Yeah, probably we'll, in this case, we will contact Matthias to not invent the wheel from the beginning, but yeah, to use the project of this for this Wi-Fi board and just replace the module and yeah.
So
use his knowledge to build it. Yeah. So
yeah.
So
I think
the
the
problem
one
much
that
easier.
with the internal connector is the power supply. I think I'm not sure when it is switched. It has 3.3 volt, and I think the question is, will it go off when you turn the Newton off? Because I had an old Bluetooth module that needed 3.3 and 1.8 volts, and they needed to be powered at the same time. The module sometimes didn't get powered on properly. But I think the 3.3 goes off when you turn off the Newton with the power switch. Because the other problem I had, then at some point I didn't have it go off, and then of course it was just sucking the battery dry because the Newton was off, but the module was on.
Yeah.
I mean, the internal port, like you see here, I'm gonna put. It's not very. I need to take it a little out. Yeah, much better. So the Newton connector is here, and this is the Wi-Fi module done by Jake. Right. So he prepared that kind of. Let me pin my video because I'm losing the screen. Okay, so like you see, except the Wi-Fi module here, you have a few other parts here and the voltage controller here. Yep. And probably here it's, I'm not sure which of them, it's a conversion from 5 volts to 3.3. So both, so the powering is organized on this board for this module here. So yep. Probably a little modification on this board related to the connectors, and in this case, you can put the Bluetooth module on that board, and it will work. And as I know, the board is activated when you switch on the Newton, but is automatically deactivated, so do not drain the batteries on or nothing when you switch off the Newton. So it's everything is controlled from the socket. So it's working really okay. That module works really okay, so I think wouldn't be any problem. If we talk about the Newton 2000s, yeah, because the other Newtons don't have that connector. So in this case, for example, in eMate, probably we could find kind of space to put the Bluetooth module, but there is no that kind of connector in eMate and other Newtons. So in this case, it's a wiring stuff like connecting to the serial connector and to the powering connector. Yeah. So, but I think that could be possible to do in
for
future,
sure, but
maybe, yeah.
it will be more tricky than
more complicated.
Our current solution.
More complicated. Yeah. So something for something. Yeah, I think.
Talking about power, I also tried to use the power from eMate serial port directly, because as you can, if you check the documentation, there's the pin number 9 and 5 volts. But the problem is that this 5 volts, it's not available all time. maybe I can change the camera. Okay. Okay, I will use the LED. In this one to ground, one to pin number 9. Okay, let me do it without camera in the. Okay. No, opposite. Yeah. Okay, so the LED on means the 5 volts is available. And as you can see, when I, okay, let's try to do it like this. LED.
A little more, Artur.
Okay, this is the dock software. And you can see the dock software is launched, but I still have no 5 volts. I put the connect, click the connect, and now the 5 volts is available. But the problem is that we need first to pair the Bluetooth and establish the Bluetooth connection earlier than we can start the dock. So this solution with the internal power is completely useless in this case for eMate. I have no idea how the internal connector in Newton works, but for eMate it's completely useless because the power is available too late.
But I think the only eMate and Newton 2000s have that 9-pin serial port, because when I'm checking the older Newton, there is only 8. So that would
8
work.
is 8 is standard for all Macs,
yes.
Newtons and so on. The 9, this pin is let's say optional, yeah. And the using the power from it, it's a trick, yes, as you saw.
Oh, guys, if you don't mind, I wish to ask Artur to show the other device we're trying to. It's in development, very early development stage. But if Artur, can you say a few words about this? Yeah.
Let's say it's the how to say, it's the trailer for next meetings. Yeah, this is the SIM 800, the GSM module, also with serial port available, and we want to replace the analog modem with this device using the standard network internet enabler. Yes, this is the name of this software.
Yes.
So the same software you use normally on Newtons or eMates to connect these devices to those devices to internet. So we just make the imitation of the analog modem with the GSM modem. But this is the in this moment it's idea, and I spent maybe a quarter on it. But I already connected it to the eMate, and I established communication. So please keep fingers crossed.
Yeah. So technically, will be possible to get internet connection via that model with GPS network, GSM network, so cellular network, and that will work like access to the internet by using normal SIM card or something like this. So another like a modern modem for Newton, and technically for any Newton who can work with Newton Internet enabler. So yeah, even I think 120, 130 Newtons can work with this. Yeah, and of course the eMate and 2000s. So, and Artur, another project. I sent you that box. Could you show also that?
Yeah.
Because we have
idea.
another. Yeah, this is crazy but very interesting. I'm not sure, guys. Maybe I'm gonna say a few words before Artur will show that. I'm not sure if you saw that kind of software for eMate, because it's dedicated for eMate. The software called eProbe, and that was the project for the schools, for the education. That was the box, original box. Artur have it, and he will show you. That was the box connected to the serial port to eMate, and for the other side, you could connect kind of sensors like a probes, temperature, humidity, and a few other probes. You could connect to that device, and that software was able to take the data from that probes and create kind of tables with the results, with the numeric results, or create kind of charts or something like this. Quite interesting stuff, yeah. So I found that exactly that was the device made by Vernier company. That company still produce that kind of devices, but obviously much more modern. So that was called serial box interface. And like you see, you have two ports, port 1 and port 2. To these ports, you could connect the probes, kind of special probes to this. And on the other side of the device, it's a standard serial port, yeah. With the powering, yeah. So quite simple device, but yeah, like I said, you could connect probes and read the results, yeah. So we trying to just hack that device to make the new version of that device based on Arduino or something like this, which could technically give us ability to connect any modern sensors like humidity, temperature, pressure, light sensor, anything you could imagine. It's possible to connect to Arduino and then translate the signals which could work with that old eProbe software on eMate, yeah. So we're trying to figure out. Actually, Artur trying to figure out, because I have no idea how to do this, but he know that, yeah. So
yeah,
that will be another.
Generally, it should be as easy as the communication between this device and eMate is. So we need to sniff this communication and reverse engineer on it. And yeah, this device is really simple because input ports are just requires the voltage from 0 to 5 volts. And it's like normal voltage meter. And the probes are designed to convert the measured value, for example, pressure, temperature, or whatever you want to measure, to the voltage range from 0 to 5. So it's really simple device, and the software is really great designed for because it was the big project on Apple to develop this kind of software to schools for kids, and a lot of documentation, a lot of ready the scripts for lessons and so on was prepared. So yeah, it's another project for long evenings in the winter. So we will see.
Yeah. So
in this moment, it's only the idea.
Yeah. Okay. So that's us.
Yeah.
Forrest.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Cass.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we are ready. So okay. Now Forrest wants to show us a few things, yeah?
I have one thing to show you, and most of us that have used Newton for a while are familiar with it, but I thought maybe some of the newer people, if there's anybody on here that's newer, might benefit from it. what it is basically is, let me share the screen here with you. I don't have the elaborate presentation that Artur did. I'm basically just doing a show and tell. My wife's guests are still here, so I had to leave the area where I was going to do the presentation and come back to a different room. So it's kind of more crude back here. But let me see if I can share some content here with you. Let me see here. Let me get this up here. We're not going to do that. Share the screen. Let's see. Probably easier just to, let me just do this since I don't have the setup that I wanted to have with this. This basically is something I printed. I'll send you the actual, we'll look at the website here in a minute. This is from Ricardo Mori. He had a website, he still does, called The Platinum Days. And this is a description. This is where I first learned about this. I downloaded this on 11/20/11, this content. And that's how I learned about this case. It's the what's called the message pad and Newton keyboard leather carrying case. Now, these are kind of rare. At one point I had 2 of them and I didn't really need 2 of them, so I sold one. But basically, if I can get this one up here, I can show you this. Let me see if I can, hold on just a sec here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if we go to switch cameras here. There we go. Okay. So if we go with this, basically what we're looking at is this is the case. Okay. It looks like an attaché case. It says it's a full grain cowhide, it says on it. Has a handle, leather carrying strap, as you see. Okay. And it actually unzippers, which we'll do here. And inside is a working Newton workstation. This light on here for you. And we have, ta-da, right here. Get this camera switched. There we go. So what you have is you have the keyboard here, okay, which is in a case right now. I'll take it out. And then you have in the back, you have, this opens up. And you have in the back here, you see you have folders for PC cards if you wanted to, pens, pencils. You have some extra spaces. This is for my PCMA wireless card right here. You have folders here in the back if you need to put things. There's a zippered folder here. I actually have a little notepad back here like that. And the thing that's interesting about it here is that allows you to take your Newton and basically almost make it into a laptop. Let me get this case out of here, this keyboard out. You take this. Now, the picture I have here, which I wanted to show you, and I cannot get it to come up, is I can show you on this, which I'm sorry this is so crude. Basically, this is what you got. This is what comes with it. It allows you to either put an old style Newton there in it, or you can put an 2000 or 2100 here like this. It wants you to use the screen cover. I'm not real fond of that idea, so I don't do that. Instead, all my Newtons have Velcro on the back here, and the Velcro fits on here like this. And basically what you have is the Velcro, and then this tilts up like that. And then here's your dongle right here, which you plug in here. And there's the Newton comes on. And basically there's your workstation right there. So you have the complete workstation. You have, there's a little space here they give you if you want to put your spare dongles right here. Then you just type on the keyboard and you have a workstation that you can use that you can take with you anywhere. The Newton folds down. In the back here, you see there's rubber strips that hold the Newton down as it's folded down. You could probably also put the screen cover over that if you wanted to transport it. I don't think that's necessary, but that's pretty much it. Actually, I was looking on eBay. There's one available for $50, which is a steal, because I have no idea how much the original one sold for. I got mine for about 38, I think, from a guy, and he was nice enough to include with it an extra dongle and a Newton stylus. So that's pretty much that. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Let me see if I can get this content to come up here, which is the website URL here. Let's see if we get this to work. There we go. This is the new version of Ricardo Mori's page. It's loading right now. This is what it looks like, and you can kind of get a look here. And this is the picture there. And then this is the workstation he has right there set up. That's system folder wordpress.com/2011//04/30/Newt Office. And I can make that link available too if you're looking to do it. But I recently rediscovered this because I was rediscovering my Newton. My Newton had a damaged screen. Let me turn this back so we can get a camera here.
Yeah, you could share the link with on chat if you have it.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
But this here is the damage to the Newton was right here. Something fell on the screen and damaged it, so I wasn't able to use my Newton for very much for a while. And I just recently fixed it, and I rediscovered this bag. And like I said, it's if you're going to use your Newton for full time, which I don't know how many of us do that anymore, but it is a nice little package here. And there it is. Yes, someone just sent that. Thank you, Ken Roy. Yeah, someone just sent that the information about that. It's only one page, and like I said, it's available if you wanted to for $50 on. It's the thing about it is it's interesting is it's supposed to be really good quality cowhide, but I don't know if they painted it or didn't stain it, but it looks like some of the places the actual black is coming off. I don't know how well you can see that, but I mean it's kind of disappointing. You would think something that's made as well as the outside of this, the inside would be made as well too, but it's not. So anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but that's what I wanted to share. Just something simple like that.
Forrest, just a comment on a lot of old leather cases that I have. The leather holds up. It's not great in humidity, but over the years, a lot of the interior stuff was really not leather at all. It was some other material covered with some kind of plastic that is just peeling off. There's nothing you can do really, except unless you want to put goop on it, and that never smooths out very well.
Now, I just kind of decided to just, as you see, just let it go the way it was. I mean, I just figured, well, you know, aesthetics are not that important to me. Functionality is. I mean, it's nice if it looks nice, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is. So it does work the way I want it to. So that's what I care about. But yeah, thank you for that.
And really, the leather is the main thing. If the leather's not gotten moldy or overly dried out, then anybody who wants to can rebuild the inside pretty easily, as long as they're not worried about aesthetics.
Right.
I think if the leather have a really good quality and it's like a real leather, then you probably don't have that kind of effect that something that material coming out. I think there is a problem with the materials pretending that they are leather. So probably
I think that's
in this
his
case,
point.
yeah.
I think his point. It isn't really. it may be real leather outside, but it's not real leather inside.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So probably this is the problem. Forrest, I don't have a question, but I want to show you something. I'm gonna again share my
Sure,
screen.
please do.
My
There you
screen.
go.
Yeah,
There
but
you go.
this one is like you can see probably it's an
Yeah, I
original
have that on.
original Newton. So I think that that project you just show us, it's based on that original case, because
No,
here you
it
have
is.
here you have a place for the Newton. Here is the place for the Newton. Here is the keyboard. So you can also raise that, so you can create kind of support for Newton. So I think it's very similar to yours, yeah. And I
No,
have
it is the same.
yeah, I have the same problem with the with that material, going out from the stuff. So it's the same problem. Outside, the leather is really great because probably it's a real leather, but inside it's a fake material. So it's the same problem, like you have it. Yeah.
We have the exact same case.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
the only difference that I did not show that, but yours is much newer and a much better condition than mine is.
yeah.
But yeah, it's exact same case.
I
and
could
like
discuss,
I said,
yeah.
I don't make any claims that I certainly don't have the only one in the world. I mean, at one time I think these were pretty popular, and then as people stop using the Newtons, they show up every once in a while on eBay. I know you don't see them very often, but yeah,
it's good. It's good solution. Yeah, it's great solution. Yeah. I was, if we talk about really good solutions, I was managed to buy. I'm not sure who produced that, but for me, it's the best one.
Right.
It's made from neoprene or something like this. I'm not sure what's the proper name of this, but this one is really good. It's for Newton 2000. I mean, there is only Newton inside, but it's really nice because have a kind of socket here. You can hear. I'm not sure if it's obvious, yeah, but it's kind of socket here, and it's really nice because it's very soft inside, so there is no chance to make kind of damage on your Newton, yeah, and it's quite really nice to work, yeah. So this is another option, yeah.
And neoprene.
Neoprene, yeah.
I will tell you, when I first got this, you really raise some eyebrows and get some interesting looks at Starbucks when you take that in there. Because everybody looks like, what is that thing? What do you got there?
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's interesting by itself. Yeah. I took it into an Apple store, and they were just like, we make this? Where is this from? And of course, then they saw the Newton. A few people in the store actually knew what the Newton was. Most of them were just like, wow, this has an Apple logo. We had these? So, yeah.
Yeah.
That too. A few months ago, before quarantine and everything, I actually brought my Newton to an Apple store at a local mall, and it confused a lot of people. Only like one employee actually recognized it, and a lot of Apple employees had no idea what it was, and I had to explain.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, this is, I think, this is us. If you have some topic or you want to discuss about something else, yeah, this is time for our chat. My idea for the future for the next meetings was because I see a few people me personally I don't know much, so if we could spend some time to kind of say about us a few words to other guys. I personally I'm happy to meet another people and know the stories, how they land up with us as a Newton group or something like this. I see Ella, I see Gary McQueen, Kinroy, Matthew, Perley, Sylvan. We know that guy, I think, yeah. And my last word I wish to say to Simon, actually. Simon, thank you very much for NCX. This is great software.
Oh,
Have a few glitches, kind of, but they are not important. but this is so great because if at this moment, if someone don't have an older Mac, that it's a life-saving software. So thank you very much again for that.
No, thank
Simon
you.
and I communicated. There he is.
What you've done is just genius with the Bluetooth module. Yeah, it's a really clever idea, and well done for both of you, Artur and Paul, getting
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much.
And it's great to see NCX in the wild. I've never seen anybody else use it, so that's great.
No, I'm pretty
Use
sure
it all
that
the
a lot
time.
of people using it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, Simon and I actually communicated by email back in 2011 or 2012 about NCX, and I told him how genius it was. And I asked him if he ever had any plans on doing full synchronization with it. And he said, well, it's mostly just a hobby. It's not really something I'm devoting my life to. It turned out to be very prescient there, Simon, because as it turned out in a few years, there wouldn't be any sync with the Macs. Just because the sync module was disabled. So it turns out that in a way you were right. So yeah. It was actually very good. Yeah,
this is great. This is great software. Basically, for example, I'm using only NCX now to when I have a kind of new Newton and I need to upload on Newton something. This is the only way. The only difference that I'm using not cable, most of them, but Wi-Fi. Yeah, at the beginning, if you have completely wiped out Newton. The NCX is great to upload the software. Yeah. So
I still need to get a working serial to USB cable. Turned out.
We don't hear you.
Serial to USB cable. And that's what we've been talking about earlier with the Bluetooth, effectively.
Yes, you join us later, but at the beginning of our today's session, we just showed the kind of device. I'm gonna maybe say again that kind of device you can connect your Newton without the cable to your modern Mac and sync the software. So the video,
cool
by the way,
module.
guys, I forgot to mention about this at the beginning. I hope no one don't mind if I will publish, because I'm recording that session. I hope you don't mind when I will publish on my YouTube channel. If someone don't want to be on that video, please tell me. But yeah, I think it's really nice to have that kind of archives for future for people.
well,
who
I think
want to,
I think it's implied. I think it's implied if you're on here that means you're given permission to be recorded. I would hope. Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. So I'm recording. I'm gonna publish every time, because every meeting we have really interesting discussions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the last one. I still want to look at the video for that. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah. So Simon, it's Ronnie here. I have a question for you, because it turns out that if you're with either with Einstein or with the Newton, taking a screenshot, okay, as a recording of the session, and then putting it into I thought it's called now. There's it's like OneNote, but it's not OneNote. Is it? It's the other one. Is it? Yeah.
Evernote.
Evernote?
Evernote.
I forgot. It's a repository for notes. What was it called again?
Dropbox, OneDrive,
It does.
Evernote.
If you have handwriting, it translates the handwriting into text.
Wait, I got. Let me
Scribe.
My screen here. Notability.
It's been around for years.
Notability.
And Microsoft's OneNote,
Notability.
Microsoft's OneNote has been trying to.
I think it is Evernote.
Evernote. It's Evernote.
Nebo.
So my question for you, Simon, is: have you thought about an interface into Evernote, just for pouring? So you capture, because you can capture the screen note. You can. I think you can. Can you do a screenshot from NCX?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And could you then link it through to Evernote? Because that then would be a really good way, an easy way of using the Newton as to practically take notes, and then record it in the repository, which is where Evernote would be, and then you could then find things just by using standard search on the Mac, for example, and Evernote. And to
Well,
me,
the quick answer to your question is no. I haven't thought of doing that.
okay. Well, it's a very practical way of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronnie, I can tell you that NCX can take that just screenshot from Newton. So you have just basic. It's a PNG, I think, file or something like this. Yeah. So if you have any software can read the picture and read the text from that picture, yeah, you can even recognize do the OCR and you can change that picture to the normal text. Yeah. So probably yeah, there's a kind of option. Yeah, I really like that option, by the way, Simon, because it's really great when I prepared kind of tutorials for Wi-Fi cards or something, how to install Wi-Fi card to Newton. That was like click 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 and that's all. Yeah, instead of just a simple description. So that was really great. Yeah.
That's great.
Before we continue, I wanna say something which Sylvan sent to me. I can offer to all members who need an email address on messagepad.net server that works directly with Mail.V without the need to embed TLS. And for example, Noah already using that. So as I understand, Sylvan, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand, he will have a kind of email server that he can create emails for people. They working without any problem with on Newtons, because with the modern email servers, there's a problem with the
in France, the Orange network doesn't block non-SSL emails.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
That's the reason why. But Orange in Belgium does block it, but for some reason, Orange in France doesn't. So he's in a very good position to offer that service.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, if someone struggle with getting a kind of email account for Newton, yeah, please write to Sylvan and he's happy to offer something, yeah, for you. So that was kind of announcement.
Still considering getting a 2100 or an upgraded 2000 in my collection. I recently got a couple of old cell phones from like the early and mid 2000s. 4 of them actually. 2007 Dell Inspiron PowerPC, like a Dell Inspiron 530 auto. It needs a new hard drive. Need to get some coding software and SATA cables and stuff. But we have a spare PlayStation hard drive that's likely compatible. And also as well, this PowerBook. Yeah, I had to get a new power adapter for it because the power adapter had a slow capacitor. But the new one arrived. The thing is, this thing does not function without the power adapter anymore. But the computer itself actually works. No hard drive issues, no any of that.
Is that a 3400 Necromancer? Is that a 3400 Necromancer?
The 520C.
Okay, I got a 3400C that looks like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
Still works.
Yeah.
Easy too.
You can use it to sync directly your Newton.
I just need to get some more floppies because my one spare blank floppy I accidentally corrupted when I was trying to wipe it.
Yeah.
On my newer Mac because I have a USB floppy drive, something went wrong during the process because I accidentally unplugged it. So I'm gonna need to buy some replacement floppies and stuff, and then use my USB drive to put some Newton software and then load it on here.
Yeah, the generation of difference here at Techromancer is we could just walk into a store and buy floppies. Now you have to buy them online. You can't just buy floppies anymore like you used to be able to. Yeah. I like your poster, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I got my shirt on here. The I Want to Believe poster.
Hey.
See? Got my X-Files shirt. So yeah. Nice.
I've got lots of posters.
And I'll bet there's a bunch of us here who has some floppies that we wouldn't mind getting rid of.
Yeah.
I had a bunch. I turned them into coasters.
They make good frisbees, right? Yeah, good frisbees too.
Yeah.
Small.
Yeah, most of them, unfortunately, after years, probably not working. I'm trying to save I try to before to make a kind of images from all floppies I have for Newton with the software or something like this, but like 3/4 of them, they are completely, you know, not readable, yeah, because they are too old, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I heard
yeah.
hard drives are good for like long-term storage, like for that, like better than solid-state drives in that aspect. If you have a hard drive in a garage for like 20 years, if you want to go suddenly just boot it up and extract data from it, the data is likely to still be intact. Unlike an SSD that's probably stored for the same amount of time.
Yes, but,
Well,
20 years ago, you didn't have something like, you know, 1 terabyte hard drive with the software.
Right.
I didn't even exist 20 years ago.
Yeah. So 20 years ago, 20 years ago, probably if you had something like 50 megabytes hard drive or 200 megabytes, you were a very rich person, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing's like, I think it's around 100 megabytes, like this giant old power book.
Exactly.
Back in, a long time ago, 1982, I was the Apple III test engineer in Apple's Cork manufacturing plant.
Nice.
And the biggest hard drive we had was 5 megabytes. A 5 megabyte hard drive.
Wow.
And that took probably half of the room.
Well, no, it sat on top of an Apple III. It was a big.
Yeah.
But
I know about the Apple III.
Whoa.
Sorry?
I do know about the Apple III. The kind of wacky attempt at an Apple II successor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a business machine, but the IBM PC kind of took that slot.
Yeah.
For a very short while, but when the Mac came out, it became clear that it was the IBM PC wasn't a business machine.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So No, I tell you what. The one thing I wanted to talk about was because this week we heard this the news of the Apple strategy for the Mac. Okay, and they also covered the iPad OS and the Apple Pencil, and they showed how you could do handwriting recognition and then to move it, and it's very, very Newton-like.
Yeah.
Okay? But the way but the way they discussed it, you have to buy an iPad in order to enjoy that functionality. Unless I misheard it, because I was expecting them to talk about the iOS as having some support for the Apple Pen, but the whole focus was on the iPad. And I just wonder whether I actually did misunderstand it, or whether I'm actually correct.
Well, the current iPhones don't have the hardware to use the Apple Pencil, do they?
Yes, no, they cannot. I heard some rumors that the next iPhone probably will be able to work with the Apple Pencil, but I'm not sure if it's fake info.
Yeah, so I heard that 2 weeks ago, and then I was expecting it to be endorsed as part of the discussion earlier this week, but it wasn't. So
no.
Me, what they were suggesting is if you want to enjoy the extra facilities on the Apple Pencil, you have to buy an iPad.
Yeah, which is shame, because I think the Apple Pencil and the iPhone could be really good, very tiny small notice, like a notepad, but yeah.
Apple Pencil, what it does is like the iPad screens that support Apple Pencil and Apple Pencil 2, but they have specialized sensors built in the screen to detect the pencil more precisely instead of just, regular stylus. In order to do that with iPhones, you'd have to have that special kind of screen. They don't have that yet, but maybe they will in the future.
Yeah, but for me, on a practical level, I don't want to be carrying an iPad and a laptop and a phone.
Yes.
Well, it's
I have all three.
Styluses, remember? Steve Jobs said famously, "I have 5 styluses on my hand." He hated styluses, which is supposedly one of the reasons he did not like the Newton. Is he made fun of the Samsung with their styluses on their devices, and he just refused to have anything to do with stylus, which is why I was really interested to see when they introduced the Apple Pencil, because I'm like, well, is Steve spinning in his grave right now?
Yes.
My answer for that statement was, please show me how to make a really good square or circle by your finger on the screen. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah. So this is the problem. I can understand that we work with the fingers when we need to press the buttons or something, but try to sketch something really good with your finger on the small screen. It's almost you know.
No, it's not. It's
impossible.
You can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't do it. Yeah, and that was the state of the art though in the late '90s though, and that's how he wanted to do it. And he was visionary in so many ways. But
didn't he call the Newton the scribble pad? I'm interested that they've now called the writing system Scribble.
Yeah.
Surprised if that's a reference. Purpose. And the quote Steve Jobs. Bleh, who wants a stylus?
Yeah,
but with the pencil.
I have an older iPad, a 2013 iPad Air running iOS 12. Somehow, like my digital art and stuff, I actually learned how to draw without a stylus entirely. So to be honest, I designed these tools to draw square and stuff. The Newton is pretty good with that kind of stuff. At least they're kind of bringing it back in a way, and they're not totally ignoring it like they did in more recent years. Because like they're finally acknowledging like a lot of the Newton abilities and putting it in the modern stuff.
They've been doing it for years, though. The routing button, for example, has made it to Mac for years. It's got a slightly different shape, but that's what it does.
Yeah.
They've taken lots of Newton ideas and gradually incorporated them in macOS.
Yeah. Okay. So in the discussion we had last time, we were trying to work out how to have Einstein on the iPhone in a practical fashion, so it would interact with the NCX, for example, on the Mac, and that way then you would have quite a reasonably good solution, probably more practical than having to carry an iPad, an iPhone, and a pencil and the Mac, for example. And to me, that's because otherwise you end up with Matthias's solution, which is Einstein on an Android device interacting with the Mac. And to me, that's probably the more advanced version of the Newton of the Einstein. That could work practically if we're prepared to work with Android as a business phone device. And I used to work with the Samsung Note, and I stopped it because every 2 years they kept asking me to upgrade the device and to maintain the security patches, because they typically expire after 2 years. On that. So to me, it's within the Apple announcement this week, it's an interesting time to look at all the different possibilities to see what's practical. Okay.
On Colt Mac, which is a pretty good technology website that focuses largely on Apple. I heard rumors of like that switch from Intel to A series processors like all the way back from like 2018. They're pretty good with like rumors and stuff. For example, they leaked the name of the iPhone XR like a day or a few hours before. I don't know.
Yeah, but why would anybody want to buy, pay $4,000 for a Mac that you could probably get secondhand, okay, for less than $1,000? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like a very, very expensive cars. When you buy brand new one and you're walking out from the shop, you're losing 50% of the money you spent. Yeah, so it's like that. Yeah,
but it's not a functionality statement.
Right? Yeah.
My laptops are hand-me-downs. The one I'm using now, my 2011 MacBook Pro, we got used from a friend, one of our friends' parents, who was getting an upgrade. Yeah, I wish the 2011 MacBook was one of the last ones that's easily used or upgradable and repairable. Shame Apple no longer makes their MacBooks like they used to. Especially with the whole
Ronnie, you
butterfly keyboard mess.
Ronnie, you mentioned before about macOS. I read something, but I think it was Stephen Levy in Macworld this week, and he talked about how it looks like the Mac will be running basically the same software as macOS because they'll have the same chips, which means theoretically speaking, you'll be able to run iOS applications on your Mac at some point. They'll just go right over. Now, obviously, there are hardware issues. For example, obviously, you're not going to have, you're not going to be able to run, things that depend on, say, for example, the camera on the iPhone or the iPad, because that's not going to work. But general software should be able to be ported right over. That's kind of interesting because now you don't have to develop for two different platforms. Now, basically, you develop for one platform, you've got it.
Yeah.
Oh, ARM-based, just like Newton.
Yeah, but when you said general software should be run on multiple platforms, I don't think that's true. I think each platform has a specific reason, okay? And using two platforms at the same time is probably easier than trying to do everything on the same platform.
Well, you read the same thing, Ned. I mean, I think what he was trying to say is it's theoretically possible. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't want one device that basically is going to run everything. I'd rather have things specific to each device than one device. One like Windows. I don't want Windows on everything because it doesn't run on anything, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd rather have the individual operating systems for each device.
I mean, I see that the move they made, that they changing the architecture from Intel to IRM. Yeah. I think they this is kind of, for me, this is kind of business move, because in this case they will cut out, they will be independent from Intel. This is first thing, so they can produce their own chipsets and CPUs. The second thing, they will be more like I don't know, independent with other technologies, and they will have a bigger control over the system and how the system working with the hardware. But in the same time, they create even bigger monopoly, because in this case, the whole, for example, Hackintosh world, they will that will be killed, because if Apple will start produce the CPUs and all the hardware for the Macs, in this case, mean the other companies and the people will be not able to, for example, install macOS on the different platform or something like this. Yeah, for me, it's not really good move, because I'm not happy for the way how Apple deal with that kind of T2 chipset, that they control completely the hardware and software, and it's impossible, to fix the modern Mac. It's almost impossible to fix modern Mac if you don't have access to really big, I don't know, very special tools, etc. Yeah. So for me, it's not really great way, because me as a user, I feel that I'm losing control over the hardware and software I have, and I feel I must be a little addicted to Apple to have everything working. For me, changing the computer or my mobile phone every year or every 2 years, it's completely not acceptable, because for example, in front of me I have a really good iMac 27-inch display from 2011, and that computer, for my things, what I'm doing is pretty great after 9 years. But I need to buy a new computer because I cannot install, for example, Mojave or newer macOS. because
Right.
Apple just limited that. So
Right.
for me, it's crazy because that computer is still powerful after 9 years. It's still powerful and it's really good in really good condition and doing everything what I want. Not that fast like the newest Mac Pro, obviously, but for me, for my things, it's perfectly enough. But for example, I have a problem to sync and working properly with my new iPhone, because not everything working, because I have a High Sierra and I cannot upgrade the system. This is crazy for me. Yeah. So this is why I decide.
Right.
This is why I decide, for example, to just build the Hackintosh as my next Mac. So at this moment in different room, I have a Hackintosh because I will not spend over $5,000 only to have a computer with the newer software. Yeah.
Now, I agree with you on that. I mean, I'm upset because I have a whole lot of Macs that I can't run Dropbox on because they Dropbox discontinued. And I mean, I need Dropbox. I got everything in Dropbox, and Dropbox allows me to sync between computers. I can't do that with some of these old Macs. I think they stopped at Tiger or somewhere, Leopard or somewhere around there. They stopped allowing you to use it. So those computers are good, but I can't interface them with anything else. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it's bad to be forced into an ecosystem that basically forces you to go and continue to buy new products, because if you don't, and Apple's better at this than some companies, I think, but still, you need to have, like, I have a 10-year-old MacBook Pro, and I'm stuck on Capitan. So I mean, I feel your pain, Pavel. The thing I don't like about the new change is that I don't run Windows a lot. And my Macs that have Intel processors have Windows on them, Windows 7. Now, obviously, Windows 7 support is long gone, but that's how much I run Windows. So when I do need to run Windows for something, I can just boot the Mac into Windows, and that's it. I don't need a separate machine. For as much as I use Windows, it wouldn't pay me to go out and get a separate machine. So that's one of the things I don't like about the switch from Intel, is that, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. I mean, you might be able to do it. You might be able to do it virtually, but I can do it right now. I don't need a virtual, emulator to do that. I could actually run Windows.
I think you can run Windows 10 on ARM processors. Am I wrong?
Well, no, you can run them on the Intel, but when they switch from the Intel, you won't be able to do it unless you use an emulator.
There are a few versions of Windows that can run on ARM-based processors, like mainly on a few service books, I think, but it's not as well supported. I think they're trying to get more support. Maybe in the future I might be able to run an ARM-based version of Windows 10 on Mac, but who knows for certain.
Yeah.
And also, well, both of you have very, very valid arguments. I've got a late 2011 MacBook Pro, and sure, maybe a little long in the tooth, but it's still good for schoolwork and stuff. And yeah, I don't need a ultimate power gaming PC. It still High Sierra still supports a lot of stuff, even if it's not newest to the new. I can still sync my phone and do things like that.
And but you're gonna find out in a year you're gonna be 10 years out of date. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cass.
I'm just wanting to point out that I got a tower from, what was it? I think it's a 2011. And there's a piece of software that has worked to allow upgrades that Apple no longer officially supported. I don't have a link to it right now, but I can send it to the crew. It has worked, and I think it has not. I don't think it is 64-bit, so I don't think it will work for Catalina. But he did it for the last, I don't know, 3 different upgrades, and that might be a solution to at least getting closer to the current version of X.
The problem with
really
this,
cool.
Yeah, the problem with this software is that, I can, for example, in my iMac case, I can do that upgrade, but using that software. But the problem is for example, macOS.We, they changed the graphics part of the system, and for example, Mojave will boot up on my iMac, but the graphics card used in my iMac is quite old, and in practical way, the system will be very, very slow. So there is no chance to have a kind of, really good quality working on it, because the graphics card cannot handle the new solution in the new systems. So this is the problem. Yeah, the graphic card it's a kind of problem, because the newer version of macOS, they have a technology called Metal or something like this when they operate with the graphics card. And the graphics card in my iMac is too old for that technology, and my card do not support that technology. So basically, I could use my iMac only with the internal GPU from Intel CPU only. So in this case, when I'm doing kind of, for example, video editing, that will be completely useless for me, because the system will be not very reliable in this case. So this is the problem. Yeah, but I saw that software. I hope that my iMac will squeeze somewhere there, but but unfortunately, it's not possible. Yeah.
Generally, the software is only for easy way to do it. And generally, there's one text file inside the installation package of macOS, and there is the list of supported hardware inside this text file. So if you know how to enter your old Mac on this list, you just edit this file, prepare the installation, for example, USB drive, and
that's all.
And it's all. But as you said, the tricky part is the new technologies, new hardwares, and lack of support for some chips or parts of computers. And the story is similar, like with Hackintosh. Yeah, you can do it, but it's not the easiest way to get the working macOS. And very often, when you install some updates from Apple, you will lose your work, and you need to start from the beginning. So it's similar situation like with hacks.
Yeah.
If only macOS is more like Windows 10, because Windows 10 let you run on anything. It's worth even MS-DOS files and stuff. For example, that old Windows PC I got, it's from 2007. It has an Intel Pentium, and it still runs Windows 10 64-bit without any issues. And not insane, it's slow, but not insanely so. Like, but what about an external GPU? Or do you think it'd be possible to upgrade a graphics card on that iMac?
Technically, you can buy external case and put the Modem card inside, but it's not always working. It depends what kind of iMac, what kind of Mac you have, and probably you can do this if you have Thunderbolt 2 or 3, because the first Thunderbolt did not support that function, I think. But the case for the Thunderbolt 2 is at this moment almost impossible to buy in the good price. The last one I saw, that was something like $500 for the case, and then you need to buy, let's say, external graphic card you put to that case. So you can end up with something like $700, let's say $700 for the external, graphics card working with your Mac. So I'm not sure if it's, it's better to spend that money and build the modern Hackintosh, because good construction, you can spend something like $1,000 and you can build really good computer for that money. Yeah?
Cool.
So I think this is the better way than spending, money for the technology. Will in the next, let's say, 2-3 years will be again too old, to work with.
Yeah.
So,
same Apple is like that has that massive like upgrade thingy, like it's like upgrade mindset. It's like annoying because a lot of their older devices are totally fine. I still use a couple of iPods and they're great for music. Or just 2011 MacBook Pros, still good for work. Sure, maybe not that powerful, but it's still strong. A lot, literally more powerful than the school Chromebooks. I actually look at their specs. This thing's actually more powerful than computers 6 years or newer.
Well,
and
to Kaz's
a
point,
lot of work. It still can do a lot of things a modern computer can. Like, sure, it can't do like serious gaming or anything, but it gets work done.
to Kaz's point, it's possible. I had a patch that you could upgrade El Capitan to Sierra, and actually it worked on the MacBook Pro, but I mean, it was a patch you had to apply, and it really bogged the machine down. It ran hot. It was slow. I ended up going back to El Capitan just because, even though it was possible for me to upgrade it, it just didn't work out. And I mean, you're looking at that point, it was a 7-year-old machine. I think, you know, for the most part, Apple's been pretty good about including, you know, I mean, I think they're only recently they stopped supporting the iPad 2. So, I mean, it was possible, even if you had an iPad 2, to still upgrade to the latest version of, you know, the iOS version of whatever it was there. But yeah, I mean, so they're pretty good about that. But I mean, it's Powell's point. I mean, it seems ridiculous to walk in and pay for a new computer that, you know, it's like a car. When you scratch it, or you know, the screen gets like a scratch or something on it, you feel like you want to die because you just spent all this money, and now what do you have? Yeah, it's
Screen
exactly.
protector has almost a ridiculous amount of cracks, and then for some reason I don't care, but it is a screen protector. You know, Apple's like serious upgrade philosophy. It's more and more recent development. But also, I've heard that they have no plans to merge macOS and iOS, but they are going to write some software that allows iOS apps to run on macOS. Yeah.
Actually, they're doing this because with the more modern, the new platform, I think they will merge the macOS and iOS together, because on the demo, there was a demo, demo. They showed that native iOS application they run on that new macOS. So I think this is the way when the Apple wants to go. Just unify the system, working on the all platforms natively, like computers and the mobile devices, and there will be, you know, the same app working on the computer and on the mobiles. Yeah, so I think this is the way they want to do this. Yeah, which I'm not sure if, like Forrest said, I'm not sure if it's a great way. We'll see. Yeah, we will see. Everything will be much simpler, because in this case, I can imagine when you download the let's say, I don't know, Final Cut Pro application on your computer, in the same time you will be use the same app on your, let's say, iPad Pro or something like this. Yeah. So yeah, but in this case, what's the point to have a computer if the same application working on your tablet? Yeah, and it's pretty cool. So I'm not sure in this case, but yeah, they probably have a kind of, you know, idea for this, and kind of, you know, solution for everything.
Yeah, but the
trickiest
way is the trickiest way in this case is to combine two different user interfaces, because this is completely different way to when you use your finger, and completely different way when you use the mouse and the cursor.
Yeah,
so
but look, Artur.
Look what Microsoft fucked up with Lumia phones, and it was the first try, yeah, to put your phone into the docking station, connected to the screen, keyboard, and mouse. It was disaster, yeah? And the same probably. This is the trickiest way trickiest thing to solve, yeah, how to combine two completely different interfaces into one application. You could run on the PC, and you can run on your phone or tablet.
Okay.
I think Apple doing this exactly the same, and I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's a good way, because if you go back to the demo, to the keynote, the last keynote from WWDC or whatever, what
Web Developers Con.
Yeah. So they show the on the iOS, they made that kind of, you know, side dock, or how they call it, on iOS, and the same solution they trying to implement for the new application like Photos, or the, you know, the old small application they provide with the macOS. So for me, that was kind of first attempt to unify the interface. But like I said, I'm not sure if it's a good way, because on the computer with the keyboard and mouse, you can do a much more than on the, you know, mobile device with the finger only. Yeah. So I'm for example, I'm really not happy what they did with the with the Photos application. That application is good if you're doing one photo per month and you store that. But if you're a photographer and you want to try to use that application, it's useless for the photographer. Even with that plenty of visual filters, etc. It's completely useless because the interface is so simple. It's too simple. And for example, I was really angry when they killed the Aperture, because Aperture was really good application, and a lot of people didn't use Lightroom from Adobe to manage with the photos. For example, me, I use always Aperture from the first version, and for me that application was really great. And then they just announced, okay, we shut down the Aperture because it's not really good application now. Then we give you a better application called Photos, which is completely rubbish. Yeah. So they just killed that idea. Yeah. So a lot of people I know, a lot of people just switch on the Lightroom from Adobe to continue their work and more sophisticated, image managing. But yeah, Apple doing this, the applications, the interface in the newer version, it's much more simpler, and I'm not happy with that, because I wanna have a much better, much more options in the application on the computer. Yeah, I'm happy with the simple interface on my phone or on my tablet, but on the computer I expect a much more sophisticated interface and much more functionality. Yeah.
What's difficult for me is if you started out using the iPad back in 2010, it was very difficult to get used to not having file storage. Because obviously, if you've used a Mac or a PC, you have folders, you have files, you file things away, and you're working with an iPad that did not have that. I mean, now, and that's what drove me to Dropbox, is, if you want file storage, you basically have to go to, a cloud storage thing. And now, I use the iPad almost exclusively now, the iPad Pro. I use the MacBook Pro much less than I used to. But with the keyboard, you basically have a small laptop with the iPad Pro for what you want to do with it. But again, the file storage is just what kills you. I mean, if you thought for 30 years about file storage and how you file things in folders, and then all of a sudden now you don't have that, it really complicates things. I mean, and that's one of the challenges. Now we're moving back to that, where you can actually hook an external, hard drive to an iPad, which is interesting. But I mean, for the longest time, if you wanted to store files, you had to get your mind around a different way to do it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, the old days. But I was saying, like, I heard Apple's not going to actually combine both iOS and macOS into a single operating system, but they're just instead like add support for like applications of both, like for example, macOS running iOS apps, but not like merging the entire operating systems. That would be a mess.
We'll see.
Well,
we'll see. I wish good luck. I wish good luck to team to do this, because it's a quite and for me that was like, I start laugh when he said during the presentation that they predict that the time for the transition will be 2 years, but in the same time he said that at the end of the year they still will release the new Mac computers with the Intel processor. So for me it was like a completely not working together information. Yeah.
Irony.
It makes sense because one's a marketing strategy presentation, and they don't know whether anybody will buy into it. Okay, and the other one is really just making sure that whatever you're doing today, you'll still be able to do it tomorrow. Because if you need, more storage or your machine breaks, okay, the quickest thing you want to be able to do is just to learn what you were doing before. And the last thing you want to do is to go to a brand new architecture with all the...
Yeah, but in the same time, Ronnie, I can understand if you have a company and you use that software and hardware for, making money, because obviously you can earn money, so you can change your hardware faster than the, let's say, personal user who, when decide to invest in some computer, that expect that the computer will be in use much longer than in, for example, when you have a company. Yeah, so I can understand, but I had in my mind the situation how they dealt with the Final Cut Pro software, the old one, the version 7, the previous version than Final Cut Pro X. That was crazy because a lot of companies invest a lot of money in the hardware, and they just killed the software just like that. Yeah. So I saw a few videos when people was literally angry about this because they just cut out. And when I heard that they switching the platform, but in the same time they still will produce the new Macs with the old Intel processors, for me was the first question was, who will buy that computers if that person will know that in next 2 years that platform will be probably shut down? Because I don't think Apple will carry on with the both platforms very long. Like they decide, they said something about 2 years. So let's say maximum up to 5 years that both platforms will work together. Yeah. I'm not sure, but probably you remember when the Apple switched from PowerPC to Intel.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is the same situation, and that transition wasn't that long. The only one common system was, I think, Tiger. Am I correct? 10.4. That was the only system. That was the only system which was produced for both platforms. The next one was for Intel only. Yeah. So that transition was by me very quick. So imagine you imagine you want to spend $5,000 for the new Mac Pro. So probably before you will decide to spend that money with the Intel processors, you probably will decide, this is my opinion, I would probably wait a little for the new platform and invest in the new platform. Yeah. To have it, for longer. Yeah. But it depends what people need. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because when they
what was the name of the guy that introduced the, I'm sorry, Ronnie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the one demonstration they didn't do, which is a huge part of their market, is the ability to run Windows on the Mac, okay, with the same interface.
Yes.
Which is the Parallels, the Parallel software. That was not demonstrated because that capability does not exist today, and the whole that huge marketplace will not go across to ARM unless there is a way of running Windows under the Mac umbrella. Okay.
Microsoft has experimented with that on some of their laptops.
Look, if you go back and look at what they did, they didn't show that at all. They talked about it as they really focused on the iPad and the Mac and the iOS applications. They didn't cover this ability to run Mac and Windows together in the same way. They showed running Docker and stuff like that, which is like the server base, but not the user interface, which is what a lot of developers are focused on today with the Mac, because Microsoft made a big mistake in letting and losing that space to the Mac. Okay, but the Microsoft also have a very, very good proposition, which is that whatever Windows application you're running, if you have their Surface Pro, you can actually use your fingers on the screen to expand it or drive the presentation. You cannot
do that
in the Apple. You have to have an iPad, and it's just ridiculous. You
have
a $3,000 device, and you can't move your display or expand. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they need to add touchscreens to Mac displays. It's the logical option.
Yeah, and they didn't talk about that early in the week. So there's still some open questions which they have to reflect. And Microsoft delivered that capability 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think
Microsoft did a good job with it.
I think this is the first stage of this transition. Yeah, so they just announced like a you know, like a something we working on it. Yeah, but it's not ready, and probably that will take more time.
This is a long time.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys remember in computer history what you're talking about, Powell? With why would you buy an Intel Mac if you know they're going to be upgrading it like in a year or two? Do you remember? I'm trying to find this on the internet. And I was searching while we were talking here, and I couldn't find it. Do you remember the computer company? The guy introduced a computer, a huge selling computer in the early '80s, and then at the press conference, he talked about how great the next computer was going to be.
It was Osborne.
Osborne?
Yeah, that's it.
Osborne
yeah.
2?
And he talked about how great it was going to be, and so nobody bought. They really stopped buying the first one because they were waiting for the second one because he talked about how great it was going to be, and there never was a second one.
Exactly.
So yeah, he killed himself by talking about how great the second one was. He killed the sales from the first one.
That's right.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the reasons why you have to announce both at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Carry on supporting those who've got good reason to stay, but also make it easy for those people, you know, who want to jump into the new world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, Kinroy just published on the chat the link, interesting link. Could you tell us more, because probably you read that article? Could you tell us what they said? The parallels.
No, actually, I just found that. I was searching to see if anything had been said about it.
All right.
And I just found that link on their blog saying that they're working closely with Apple on bringing virtualization to Apple Silicon.
You're talking. You want a link about that obsolete computer power, or you want a link about we're talking about with the Mac now?
You asking me?
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying you want a link about what we're talking about with the Mac. You're talking about that obsolete computer that Ron and I were just talking about. Which you don't want that link. You want the newer link, right?
No. The link can provide. It's about that parallels working with the Apple to make a Windows virtualization on the new platform. Yeah. So this is
no Windows.
I mean, for me, it's completely not relevant because I'm not using Windows. So yeah, but it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. Yeah, because if they do this, that will be even more.
They have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's one application I run on Windows, and I run it through Parallels. You know.
What is it?
It's for my bookkeeping. It's QuickBooks.
Okay.
But I guess I could switch to the web-based version, but I like running.
Actually, what you should do is you should look at I forgot what it's called now. I think it used to be called Wine, WINE.
Oh, Wine, it's like emulator or something.
And that's the way you run Windows applications without the overhead, okay?
Boot camp.
Because otherwise you have to pay, you probably have to pay 50 euros or £50 or $50 a year just to run the Parallels desktop, okay? And that can work out quite expensive if you've only got really one or two applications.
Yeah.
And the other environment we haven't talked about, which is probably becoming more and more interesting, is just to do everything under Linux and therefore have full control of your environment.
Now, there you go. That's Pavel's solution for his old Macs. All my old Macs, and I end up installing Linux on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would switch today on Linux because for me it's the best system at this moment if you need to do a lot of things. But my problem is I'm video editor and videographer and photographer. So the moment when let's say Adobe will release their software on Linux, that will be moment when I switch on the Linux. But at this moment I'm limited to Windows, which I don't wanna and I don't like to use. And the second option is only macOS because Adobe exists on macOS and Windows only. And the third thing is Final Cut, which I really like because that video editor is really good for me. exist only on macOS. So this is basically one of the primary reason why I'm still on Mac, because I'm old Mac user and I liked Apple, but the day when Steve Jobs died and they changed approach to users, that was the day I stopped like Apple really because I don't like the current course the Apple going. Yeah, it's for me it's
constant upgrade mindset.
Yeah,
Or
so
programmed obsolescence.
so this is my problem. Yeah, I need to rely on the software which do not exist on Linux. So this is the problem. This is why I decide to build my Hackintosh and stay with macOS on the cheaper computer. Yeah. But because for me it's crazy. $5,000 for the computer. It's a little above my, I can understand people have a money, and if you have a company and you earn a lot of money, it's fine. It's not the cost is not relevant, but I have my own very tiny business, and I simply cannot afford for that kind of expensive equipment. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of afraid of that because Steve Jobs was more of a consumer-based leader, and Tim Cook is much more of a business-based leader.
Yes.
So unfortunately, when Tim Cook took over, you have more of a focus on running the business and making money and so on, and you didn't have the visionary approach. Which I'm not going to slam Apple for this, but people that are critics of Apple will tell you, well, they have not had any new invention since the Apple Watch. And how many years is that? 2014. They don't have any new. They haven't had any really new. I mean, they come out with the iPad, the iPhone, the
AirPods. Come on, AirPods are awesome.
Yeah, but again,
HomePod.
Well,
really
it's just there was a string there where Jobs insisted, that this be consumer friendly, and he wanted something that was different, and he wanted something that served a need that nobody else was doing, and they're not doing that now. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's a focus from being, a consumer oriented company with technology wise to being a company that basically sees a bottom line.
Yeah. I agree with that, because after Jobs passed away, there happened not much, not really that great, change like the first iPhone was or first iPad was. Yeah, because
right.
that was kind of big player on the market. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can understand. I can understand we have that AirPods or something, but it's a kind of additional devices for the computer. But look at the phones. A lot of change, but the shape and idea is not that big. Yeah, it's still like a mobile phone. It's the same shape, the same idea. There wasn't nothing revolutionary change during that year.
Right.
Yeah, this is my opinion. Yeah, I'm with Forrest on this. Yeah,
I think though that a lot of people have overlooked the Apple Watch, and I think more and more you're going to find that becomes the hit thing for them, because
Apple
they
Watch
keep adding more and more features to the thing. I mean, capabilities in terms of monitoring your health. And it's just going to be a must-have for people.
But Ken Roy, the Apple Watch wasn't even their invention. I mean, there were watches that they did not invent the watch category like they invented the iPhone or the iPad category, or even the iPod category.
Well, the iPod category, MP3 players existed before the iPod.
But the watch actually existed before from other companies. They improved upon it. But they didn't invent the category of the Apple Watch.
Well, that's how Apple rolls, right? They always improve on an existing category.
But that's less true. I mean, there were phones out before, and there were tablets out before. And yes, you're right. But I mean, when history looks back on this, they're not going to say, "Oh, well, Toshiba had a tablet back in 1993 or something." All they're going to remember is the iPad. Yeah, and I mean it's the same with the Apple Watch. So I mean, what Powell and I are talking about is, they took a category and made it their own, And I mean, the Apple Watch is less so, which is nothing against the Apple Watch. I agree with you. I think it's probably going to be eventually the next thing that's gonna propel them. But it's not along the same lines as creating the iPod, which didn't exist, or the smartphone the way they did it, which didn't exist, or the tablet that they created, which was completely different than what Microsoft was doing at the time. So yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that's the difference.
I'm waiting for Apple glasses.
Apple Glass. I really hope they don't call it that.
That will be eyeglasses. I'm sure.
Eyeglass. The
eyeglass.
Eyeglass.
Yeah, eyeglass. Yeah.
But I saw the in the business context. In fact, I'll give you the example. It turns out if you're trying to maintain a submarine, okay, right, then there's too much information you need to understand in order to work out how to fix a particular aspect of submarine. And so you need a nice way of carrying the manuals and having access to specific information in a specific manual. And just by using the glasses, okay, and it was Google that came up with the best one, okay, then you reduce the cost and the productivity associated with managing and repairing complex devices like submarines. And then Google then tried to introduce that in the public, okay. But of course, if you know that someone is wearing glasses and they've got access to the internet, and therefore they're scanning you and profiling you, then that's a completely different aspect.
Yeah.
And that's what killed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fact that when people look at you, they're not really seeing you as a person. They see you as
data.
As the NSA. Yeah.
Do you remember that Black Mirror episode that was similar to that?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
one where everything's being recorded, and it's like, no, you said this.
Yes.
Whoever's watching.
Yes, but it's crazy. which I think why we still most of us why we still like Newtons, because the how simple the system is and how user friendly in the same time. I'm really I feel not comfortable with the times we live when we need to remember dozens of passwords, PIN codes, etc. The Newton was simple. That was personal device. The only, I think, security thing was that PIN you need to set up if you want to lock your Newton. Yeah. So I'm really sad that we live in times that we need to secure our data, because everybody, the companies or the other people wants to steal our data. Yeah. So this is sad.
Hey, has anybody played around with the version of Einstein that Matthias released a couple days ago?
Yes,
I tried to IDE.
Yes, I tried to. I managed to run that version, and I tried to use the compiler functionality. But after I load up the application and I made the change, when I click the build again, the application just crashed. Yeah, so
really?
I didn't pass that. Yeah. Yeah, but it's. I think Matthias mentioned in one of the emails that it's a very early version, so he will develop that. So I hope that function will work finally really well, because that for me is that functionality will be great, because in this case you don't need any source code anymore to modify the application. And you can basically you can write your own application without the NTK or something else.
Yeah,
so that will be really awesome. This is really awesome. Yeah. So I will motivate Matthias, because Matthias sent to me, you are the first and only one person who respond to me about that functionality. Yeah. So please send him kind of emails that you're trying to use these guys, because that will be kind of an extra encourage for him to continue.
I'll have to do that. Okay, let's see here. What is it? what do we call this session? The global Newton, what was it?
Users
I
Group.
don't know. I'll check an email.
Global, okay. Hello.
Global Newton Users Group.
No, it's a global Newton Users Meetups.
Newton.
I think it was GNUG.
No, it's a GNUM.
Okay.
Users.
Yeah.
Noom with a silent G.
GNUM. It's a GNUM.
Sounds funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So guys, I think if you wanna stay and chat more, feel free. I'm gonna leave that session open. So the video, after I cut out unnecessary things, I will publish on my channel. I hope you know my channel, but if not, it's just find something like this on YouTube. Apple Newton Fan. I'm gonna give you a link, will be easier. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Okay, Powell, thank you. Don't forget about AirPlay as one of the Apple's inventions that's underestimated in its usefulness. Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, the ability to display your anything that displays on your Apple device can then go straight to your television or to a conference screen or to multiple screens. That's what AirPlay does. And it's,
all right.
And it's very easy to use.
Yes.
And before AirPlay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Your point here
was a nightmare. Okay, it was an absolute nightmare. And
that's
I've been
correct.
to conferences, and everyone says, "Oh, has anybody got anything to display?" And then anybody in the audience can then just push their button, and it just appears on the screen.
Yeah, that's correct. I agree with that. This is good. This is good technology, and I really like. If we chat about this, I just have in mind the AirDrop. I really like AirDrop.
Yeah, absolutely, there you are.
Yeah. So
AirDrop
yeah,
is great.
Yeah, it's
Too bad
cool.
my laptop doesn't have it. I just use texting. I just text to my Yahoo email instead.
It's cool. It's cool, except it's not working anymore with my old iMac because the system is older. So this is the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost equally fast substitute is like I have a phone number and stuff, but then also my Yahoo email. If I text something from my phone number to my Yahoo email, it shows up on my computer, and boom. It's almost as fast as AirDrop. It's a good substitute for computers that don't have AirDrop.
Yeah. Okay, so this is linked to my YouTube channel. So if you click on this, you will land up on my YouTube channel, and the video should show up, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. So all people, because I get kind of people ask me about that Bluetooth module. Yeah, we discussed almost at the beginning about this. So if someone came later, please watch the video. Artur did a really great presentation, how he built that and how it's working, and I put my 5 pence also to this, so everything is clear. So yeah.
And Pavel, please let us know if you're going to start manufacturing these.
I mean, I can, like I said before, if someone wants to have one, I will not manufacture them, like you know, for selling or something. Yeah. Because yeah, I don't have facilities for this, but I can, if someone struggle to build his own or have, for example, no idea about soldering or something like this, I'm happy to help with this somehow. But like I said, maybe I will build a few of them. Definitely not 20, yeah, because I don't have a time and you know, and facility to do this, yeah. But yeah, I don't know, maybe
it's easier to make 20 than 2 because
yeah, I know, Artur. Yeah, yeah. Technically, I mean, technically, what can be done? What we could do, we could design kind of board you could fit to the modem case, yeah, Artur. and to
Yeah,
make
this
kind
is
of
one idea to make
kind
the
of
PCB, put it on the GitHub or somewhere, and everyone could order your own PCB on Chinese manufacturer. Yeah, it's one of idea. Yeah? And the second idea is to use the ready module as you did. So a lot of options. We will see.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
Powell, if you let me know how much the actual just the guts itself is, I'll get my own fax modem. And if you let me know how much it would cost for you to assemble one, you could probably do it a lot faster and easier than I could. And I'd consider getting one from you. So if you want to just the module part, if you want to let me know how much that would cost, I'd be interested in it.
okay, so guys, quick stuff. I just share with my email. Just send me a quick message after if someone wants to, you know, have a ready to go device, so then I can organize something. And I can buy parts for you and let's say build, because it's really easy. It will give me the more time I spent on modifying the, you know, the Apple modem than, you know, building what is inside. Yeah. So yeah, it's a little time consuming, but it's doable. The other thing, if you want that kind of version, let's say, or very similar, just, you know, working board with the connector for the Mac and powering by USB, it's much easier. If you want that kind of version, that will be definitely cheaper, because the additional cost is it's a case because we need to find and buy the modems somewhere. Yeah.
I could get my own. What I'm saying is I can get my own.
Yeah. So I can build for you the internals, and then you can modify your case. Yeah.
Maybe you can use modified Tupperware as a case.
Yeah, but I have but Forrest, I have only the version with that connector. Yeah. Because
I
Artur,
have
connector,
both.
actually.
I have both. I have both the PC and the Mac connectors. Yes.
All right. So it's not a problem for you. Yeah.
Either the what is that, a DB9 or something, or DB8?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that, and I have the other one too, so that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
So
okay, cool. So
maybe,
just send
maybe
me.
we can
use this adapter with it.
Yes, you can use that adapter. Yeah, with the version built by Artur, because Artur comes with the cable. Yeah.
With this version.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that version was built by Artur. So Artur just built in the with the original cable from the Apple modem, and
Yep.
I built the version with that connector for the additional cable. Oh, Artur can show his version. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the universal PCB inside, and on the other side, all components are.
That's cool.
Come on.
Yeah, the details will be in the video, because we prepared the presentation. Yeah, so
and that does.
And it's the same. It's completely the same. It's completely the same size and shape than original.
Oh, wow.
And the original one.
Okay, I'd like to order one of those, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so guys, send the just look at the video, because like I said before, the video contained at the beginning the full demo of everything. So Artur explained how it was built and how it's working, and live demo even how it's working. So yeah, everything is there. So just watch the video. Yeah, and if someone cannot build on his own, which is quite easy, if you soldered something in your life, probably you will be able to build on your own. Yeah. Because it's very easy. Yeah. So
are you gonna post up the instructions then?
Yeah, like I said,
sure.
like I said previously, so you can watch on the video. I will publish kind of article on my website with the whole steps, you know, with the pictures, with the one by one, what kind of parts you need to buy, and what you need to do, how to program the Bluetooth module,
lie.
etc., etc. Yeah. So
Ah,
you will
cool, yeah.
get that presentation on the video. Yeah.
I think I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, you can try. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, to build on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, I just screen captured that, so that's good. I got that now.
Yeah,
That was
I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask Artur also to share with that presentation. So I'm gonna include that presentation on my website
Oh, nice.
with the
Yeah.
description. Yeah, so you can
Yeah,
you can go back to this. Yeah.
already you have the
Oh,
access to
all the
this
details
because
are there.
I put it on OneDrive. You
All
have
right. Okay.
access.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Good. Yeah.
Oh,
So
excellent.
this is the internal connection you need to make. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
solder.
generally it's up to you. You can buy this converter on one board with the connector, or you can use everything on one board. So, but the idea is the same, yeah.
Okay.
When you buy the one all-in-one module, the connections on inside will be the same. I just used what I have on the shelf. Yeah, just combine everything and said, okay, yeah, that's all.
Jim, yes, if you want to build the version which Artur have with the cable, you need to solder a few things. And also with my version, yeah, you need to solder a few things also, yeah.
That's where it becomes dangerous to me.
Yeah, because there is no universal kind of module you could use at this moment. I'm working on it. Actually, this module is a kind of solution because here you have a connector, the RS232 connector. So it's here. So technically you can use that one, and also here. Here you have a USB power socket. It's a standard USB. So technically it's possible to run, but this particular module make kind of problems and I cannot properly program this module. So I'm working on it. Yeah. So maybe that will be solution for people who don't wanna solder anything, because in this case, it's a matter of programming that module and you can power up from 5 volts from USB, connect to standard PC cable to Newton, and that's all. Yeah. So you in this case you probably don't need solder anything, but I need to solve a few problems with this. So that will be probably the third version of that. So people can just buy that module, like a ready to go module, and just reprogram it. Yeah. Or I will reprogram it and maybe resend to people. Yeah. So for covering the costs. Yeah. But please give me a few days to sort it out, and write the email if you wanna that module, so we can try maybe with Artur some build something.
Arthur, do you know is that the components available in a place like Mouser? Do you know? Or I mean, I imagine I could probably go to Amazon, but I'm thinking someplace like Mouser. You don't know?
I can tell you, Forrest, that the module for my version I bought on Amazon, so I can.
You got it on Amazon? Okay.
Yeah.
So just search
Amazon,
on
eBay.
We just bought on Amazon and eBay our parts, so everything is
But you know Mouser, right?
Yeah. But I think Mouser will be much more expensive in this case. Yeah.
Well, the problem with Mouser is its quantities. Yeah. If you want 500 or something, you go to Mouser. Yeah. Exactly.
So guys, I will not open my device, but I'm happy to show you how my version looks like inside. So I'm gonna share my screen in a second. Give me a sec. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. So this is Safari. This one, share. Okay. So this is module I used.
Okay.
So like you see, $6.30. Yeah. So basically what I did, I just took that side, and I make a hole in the Apple Newton modem case, and I just use two screws to screw in. So the whole module is here, and under you have that 4 pins. You need to connect the power. Probably, yeah, that 2 pins here. You need to connect 5 volts. That's all. So, for example, technically, I built that case, and I'm using the batteries. I also bought that step up from 3 volts to 5 volts, and I built in inside of the case. But technically, if you take any 5 volts and connect here, so for example, USB cable, a little modified USB cable, you can connect to that 2 pins, and that will work. And that's all you need, actually, because the whole board, whole Bluetooth board is on this dongle. Yeah, so it's working like that. Yeah, and the only one thing you need to do with this module is reprogram, like Artur shows in his presentation. Yeah, so that's all. But for example, if you don't wanna, like I said, I can order that parts for you. And I can build and reprogram that module for you, because I did it once, so I know how to do it, and then I can resend all that stuff to you. Yeah. So, and in this case, for example, Forrest, I can build that module for you, program it, and send to you the parts. So on your site will be only open the Apple Newton modem. Rip off the original board and put that inside somehow, and solder a few wires, and that's all.
I'm always in favor of trying a project like this by myself, but realizing it may take me 6 months to do this. If you did that, you know what I mean, I found the time. I got projects standing in line right now, so finding the time to do it. Yeah, if you build it, I can certainly find the time to put it in the module, in the fax modem. So yeah. That's probably what I'll do. I'll send you an email.
Okay.
I'm currently fixing up an old Dell PC. Who knows? Maybe I wonder if I can convert it to, I don't know, Hackintosh. That would be kind of cool. But that would be pretty hard.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, I have an old Dell Inspiron tower. It'd be funny if I could somehow turn it to a Hackintosh or something, but that would be pretty hard. It needs a new hard drive, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to go buy some SATA cables so I can use disk utility to clone it, and then put it on a new drive. We actually have a spare PlayStation hard drive that should work, because it's large enough. And just
you can try. You can try, yeah. All right, guys. I need to go, so thank you very much. So I think we'll see each other in the next 2 weeks, because yeah, we can organize. It's working for me, so if you have a time, please join. If not, we can see next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to publish that video tomorrow from today, and I'm gonna prepare that article on my website, and I'm gonna send email on Newton Talk with all that links. Yeah. So you will be able to see everything again, or just check if someone missed the beginning of the session today. Yeah. Right. So do you want to still chat, guys, or we just finish the session?
I think we can end it.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's good.
Thank you.
It was a really good session today, though.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Thank you.
All right.
But Powell, I can only reinforce my soldering skills are 0.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
You know how to solder.
You don't need to imagine this, okay?
To start good soldering, you need to know only one thing: the correct end of the soldering iron. So if you use wrong one, it could be painful. Yeah, only one thing you need to know.
Like never hold like that. Yeah. It's more like that. Yeah.
Feel that burn.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
oftentimes my projects look like they were built by Fred Flintstone. So yeah, that's kind of.
I'm sure Fred Flintstone would still be more skillful than I am.
Oh, come on! You can try. It's good fun when you burn, for example, your brand new trousers or something like this. It's fun, yeah. So.
It's a war wound.
Yeah.
I have surgical scars in my eyes.
Oh.
Yes, I have my own battle scars too.
All right.
They're sadly not welding related. I want to learn welding and soldering. It sounds fun.
Yeah, use the glasses. Use the safety glasses. It's better.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. See you next time. More details on Newton Talk soon, and yeah, see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.